Welcome to Created Healthy. I'm Dawn Combs. It's a common idea that God gave us everything we need in nature, but do we believe it enough to walk that out in truth? Often the very same people who say this go looking for answers on how to use food and medicine from man-made sources. Everything man creates comes with a user's manual. Why would God be any different? I challenge you to join me in seeking revelation about our body, mind, soul, and spirit health by digging into His written word and in practicing pure science in the visible world of His creation. It's an inescapable truth that who you choose to spend time with matters. It matters for your mental health, for your spiritual health, and even for your physical health. It matters. And I think, though, that humans are probably, this is one of the issues that we are most bad at, is embracing this truth and acting on it. Here in Psalms 26 through 29, David is talking about this struggle. He is crying out and really trying to convince God that even though he's running around in a bad crowd, even though he's associating with people who are doing evil, that are working against God's plan, he wants God to recognize that he doesn't do what they're doing. And he's begging God not to see him as one of them and not to punish him along with them, because he's aware that God is a just God and metes out punishment for, or allows us to, experience the consequences of our action, which looks like punishment when we are doing evil. And I think that in our human need to belong, to have companionship, to have comfort of other human beings and approval, we fall into a trap often of hanging around with people who are not going to help us in our walk, who are going to pull us off of our walk, who will cause us to have to compromise in the way that we speak or the way that we act or the things that we hold most dear. It's just really, really difficult to hold on to that when you spend all of your time with people who just have different values and who aren't living on God's narrow path. David, it's interesting here because we see David as being somebody who was always held apart. We hear that he was after God's heart, but it's clear in this psalm that he hasn't separated himself away from the evildoers, or he wouldn't be worried about God seeing him as part of the problem. He would easily just, think about all those people over there doing bad stuff, but I'm over here. He is aware that he is getting tempted. He's getting tainted with this, the way that all of these other people that he's running around with are living, and he's begging for God to see him as separate. Please, Lord, notice that I'm not like them. Notice that I don't do the evil that they do. I think Christians can often see this as we're told to be of the world but not, or to be in the world but not of the world. And this leads us to rationalizing that, we have to go amongst sinners. We have to go amongst people that believe differently than us if we're going to spread the gospel. But God calls us to be holy. And so there's a really fine line here between judging other people for believing differently and trying to live separate from them, and also keeping an awareness that we are called to love them and to shine our light so that we're an example and that we can lead people to Christ. Sometimes Christians use that desire to fulfill God's directive to lead others to Christ as an excuse to wind up in a bad crowd. And we really have to examine how easily it just makes a lot of things really easy to rationalize. I think about maybe you have a really strong conviction not to eat anything that isn't made from God's creation. And you run with a group of other moms, maybe, who don't believe any of that and are eating full processed, full everything, things that you know to be designed by to do evil in the body. And you wind up compromising. It's that simple, of going along with the group. You don't want to make anybody feel uncomfortable, and you don't want to stand out or be odd. So you wind up compromising. And we can definitely look at that and think that's a really small compromise. But it's an indication of how easy it is to slide into making compromises, to try to fit in, to try to be accepted. It is a very difficult road to walk, to really be separate, and to really know that if God looks down, He sees you as separate. He doesn't see you mixed in or covered over or hidden in the compromises that running with a bad crowd is likely to cause. So David here is really expressing a human, an all too human failing, something that is so easy for us to do, but it's something that we need to keep examining all the time. Who are we associating with in our friend circles? Are they on the same path as us? Do we compromise what we believe and the convictions that God has laid on our heart? Are we compromising those things in order to fit in or in order to make other people feel comfortable? Because it is so easy to do. And it's important for our health, and it's important for what we look like to our Heavenly Father, that we stay separate, that we are very, very obviously different than those people that are making the compromises that He has asked us not to do. I pray that God is blessing you today, and that if you feel like David here, if you look around at all the evil around you and you just feel like it's an inevitability that you have to be amongst all these people and you have to do whatever. We live in a fallen world. There's nothing we can do about it. David is showing us here that, in fact, we can. It's easy to fall into this trap, but there's a problem here if we feel that we need to cry out and ask that we be seen as different. Please strike down those other people. I know I'm hanging out with them, but they're the evil ones, and I'm good. I'm good, Lord. I'm not like them. We need to be sure that we are living a life where we feel pretty good, that we're trying hard not to make those compromises and we're not doing it to please other humans. I pray that God brings you back on another day and we meet up here and study His Word together. Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe and share with a friend. And I'm always interested in hearing what God is laying on your heart. So drop me a rating or review, or join the conversation on Facebook, Instagram, or YouTube at Dawn Combs Really.